Welcome back to Guestbook OOP. This will be part 2 of 2. We left off with how we had just processed our object and written it to a file. Let's take a closer look at that. When we serialized it, this is a PHP function. It is specifically used to convert an object to a string for external storage. We can pass it around from one web page to another, but it's very handy. Notice here when we write the serialized data to the file, we have to use this. So it's the escape character, the backslash, and the end. This is a new line. What this does is this actually creates for us a line per object. So this is important when we then open our file to view our discussion. We'll open it a line at a time, and one line equals one object. So again, the object is an entry. So here's our class from where we created the entries. So one entry per object, one object per line, and that is possible with this here. If we didn't have the new line here, we would have one continuous line, and the way we're reading the file, we're actually reading the lines into an array. Each line will be a separate array element. This would not be possible without this new line character here. So let's view our discussion, see how this looked. Notice our discussion, our view discussion file here, view discussion.php. This is for you on the website, so you can copy and paste this code and do whatever you want with it. But we had to include this with the require once, just like we did when we wrote the file to the objects to the file, because now we're doing the opposite of serialize. We're going to unserialize. So we open the file up, we created the file to an array right here, and we step through the array one element at a time. And we, again, because we had a new line at the end of every object, one line converts to one array element. So we just go element by element. We added slashes, so we use the converse of that, strip slashes. This just allows us to handle input from the user. Sometimes the user will put in a single quote or a double quote mark, and that would bother our input processing unless we handled the strip slashes. So strip slashes, here we use date. This is how we unravel the Unix or Linux style timestamp. This stands for year, this is month, day, hour, I for minute, and S for second. Notice how we get things from our object. We use the get methods. We use set methods to set them. And now we use gets to get them. So get topic, get name, get timestamp, and get message. That's really all there is to it. So we do that one object at a time. And again, the objects are related to each line of the data file. Speaking of our data file, this is what it looks like. You can see that it's not easily read, but if you unserialize it, it is easily handled by your PHP code. So if you use serialize here and write your code, write your objects to a data file, go ahead and open up the data file and take a look at it. One more thing I'd like us to take a look at back in post message OOP is this. If there was a blank, if the user did not enter anything, then we do not reset. If it's not blank, then we'll take what the user sent via the text box, and which was posted in right here. But if the user left it blank, we'll leave it blank, and we'll have our defaults. Our defaults were set up with our constructor in our class. Kind of the same idea here. We have to get rid of the new lines because they will break the program when they're being unserialized. So we create something called a scrub message. We use a very convenient string function, PHP string function called string replace, str_replace, and we are replacing the new line characters with just a space, and it comes from our message. So the scrub message is actually what we do, is actually what we send to our objects field here called that is message that is accessed with our set method. So you can see this is a little bit of an improvement over the non-OOP discussion board. If we have a blank message, post message, it works. But when we view that, we can tell, at least we have the date timestamp that tells us, but a topic, a guest, a message. Remember, these were defaults that were in our class. So in our constructor. Post another one, make that blank, and let's view it again. And you can see they're the same. So at least they're not blank. If we were writing these to a database, a lot of databases do not like null values, so at least we would not have null values here. So it would give us some control. This will conclude part 2 of the Guestbook OOP instructional video set.